All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and Ryan Garcia has just about done everything he can do to delete his boxing career, and today tells people how he really feels. I'm sure that he is going to claim that it's related to some substance abuse, that it could be related to mental health issues. However, the things that he said, at the very least, have secured that he shouldn't be walking around too freely, thinking he can go any place he wants to go. And to boot, the WBC has separated themselves as far from Ryan Garcia as he can get. So he's going to be a professional pariah for a while for the things that he said about black people. Now, before I get into this segue and then get into the subject, let me tell you flat out, Ryan Garcia believed what he said. He believes that. I don't care if he's drinking, if he's doing whatever he's doing. He could be having mental issues, all of that. You still are able to say what you believe. And deep down in his core, the way that he said that and the things that he said, Ryan Garcia believed that. And the only thing worse than the fact that he believed it is that he is far from the only person that does. He's just mentally frail enough at this point in time to not know better than to say it. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to be delving into the ugly side of boxing. The side of boxing that everybody is there, that everybody knows is there, but has been glossed over with all type of euphemisms for what Ryan Garcia was letting out of his mouth on Twitter and in his spaces that was so explicit, so straight to the gut, no chaser, that people couldn't deny what he was saying because he did not allow himself to hide, or his drinking or his indulging or his mental state did not allow him to put a mask on what he apparently really believes. Now, before I get into what he said specifically, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you are new to the channel, please accept my invitation to hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon so you can be notified when we release more videos. And if you're a longtime subscriber and supporter of the channel, thank you so much for your continued support. So Ryan Garcia gets on a Twitter space, and Ryan Garcia says two things that I know of at the moment. And I think that this is more than enough. He says the NIGGER word, hard R, major, as Frequent Flyer says, a major grr on the end of that N-bomb he was dropping. And not only did he have it full-fledged, he also said, I hate them. And then in a second conversation, my understanding is that he said something to this sort, that George Floyd who you know was in, I do believe that it was Milwaukee. Please forgive me if I missed the city for George Floyd, but he was exterminated by a police officer live on tape. He was relieved of his life right there with a knee on his throat in front of everybody. And Ryan says he's a BITCH, and I think something to the sort of, we want to bring him back alive so we can do it again. Right? Now, there are going to be the WBC said that they do not endorse discrimination in any way. I thought that was a real funny phrase that they used, discrimination, because I don't know what was discriminatory about what he said. It's just flat racist. Where's the discrimination in that, Mauricio Suleiman? Where's the discrimination? There isn't. That was just a flat out racial statement. And the just drama of it as it related to George Floyd. Let me tell you and remind you of something. Again, this is Ryan may have all of those things. He may be drinking. He may be doing some other stuff with chemicals he shouldn't be doing. He could be suffering from mental health issues. However, that stuff doesn't eliminate the fact that he sounded exactly like he meant what he said. And he thought that he was coherent, but probably what he had was just he wasn't able to have that filter that tells you how to say things and not to say things, but lets what you really say out. But let's just remember that people like Paulie Malignaggi and Steve Kim, who are media people at this point in time, have also said things that were third cousins about Mr. Floyd that Ryan said, and they weren't drinking, and they weren't, that I know of, they weren't partaking in the wacky tobacco. They weren't going through any type of social issues. And let me break it to you. I know full well that's exactly how people think about black people in the United States. But if you say something about it, then that is when it is legitimately there. But you can't point it out and say, look, I know what this guy thinks, right? The most you can ever do is say, I suspect that this guy is the R word, that he is somebody that does not care for black people. I can suspect that because he's never actually said it in a way because of that filter that you get it. Ryan, without that filter, gave it to you straight, uncut. However, better believe that he ain't alone. You better believe that a lot of the stuff that revolves around the discrediting of Al Heyman and the discrediting of Gervonta Davis is also there in spades. No pun intended. There in spades. Pun intended. If you went back and you could go back to the time before there was YouTube and Twitter and all there was on the internet was the chat rooms of Max Boxing, the chat rooms of Doghouse Boxing, and listen to some of the amazing amount of filth that people said about black people in those forums where nobody said a thing about it. Were they also under the influence? Maybe. Were they also partaking in certain libations? Probably. Were they also, many of them, suffering from some mental health issue? Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. But they meant what they said. And if they healed themselves up, I guarantee you they wouldn't be saying it. Or whoever they talk to and work with, they don't say that. They know not to say that. That's what was so amazing about the fact that with Golden Boy, this is not the first time something out of this came out of Golden Boy, where Oscar De La Hoya had an employee or a contractor, a journalist that was contracting with them, say some horrendous things about Al Heyman. So I want to know, yeah, man, what's everybody so shocked about? This is how it was when I was growing up. I was the only black kid around, and you heard it. That's how they talk. That's absolutely, when they don't care about you hearing, that's how a lot of these people talk. But the social stigma got put on it. People hold it to themselves, and only in cases of severe trauma or called honesty will they let that out. So Ryan, absolutely, I 100% believe Ryan believes every word he said. Whether or not Brian would actually do something like that to George Floyd, I suspect that his stomach may turn over and he may think about it again in case he was going to go try to dig the man up or something. But do I believe to the extent that you can say something nasty and degrading like that, and be seriously intending to harm people with your words and let people know exactly what you think of, how little you think of George Floyd and in that situation, just all around par for the course. It's par for the course. When's the next time you're going to see something happen like what happened to Mr. Floyd? Next month. Next month, if it didn't already happen this month and it just didn't hit the newspapers. But, you know, we can all focus on Ryan and think that this is some thing that is not just how it is. That's how it is. Your parents will tell you how that is, how it is. It shouldn't surprise black people at all that he would say that. But again, this is where he goes from somebody that you can suspect that he thinks that way to no, he said it. He knows it. So a lot of times when people have those filters, you can't point your finger at them. You can't say, oh, yeah, I know you're this. Oh, I know. Take, for example, I believe heavily that Mike Montero has sentiments that rival Ryan Garcia's statements, but he's just never going to say it. Neither is the people that hang around Golden Boy, which Ring Magazine, which is owned by Golden Boy, who's the promoter of who? Ryan Garcia. Not shocking at all from coming out of that organization that one of their main people would say something like that. But less surprising of the fact that there are still people that are shocked that these things get said. Anyway, welcome to America. That's my take on the matter. Please let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Deuces.